In today's lesson, we're going to learn about additive and subtractive methods in OnShape. So the first thing is we're going to open up our Unit 1 folder. I'm going to go up to create a new document. Now I'm going to give this a very specific name. I'm going to call this activity 1.2.2 part 1. We'll select OK. We'll wait a second until my work planes open up. And as always, we're going to go over to our top work plane and turn it off, and our right work plane and turn it off. All I want to see is my front work plane. On my front work plane, this time I'm going to right click and select New Sketch. I'm going to move my little box out of my way. I'm going to flip my sketch flat at me, so I'm going to go up to my view cube and hit the front. I'm going to go to my rectangle tool. I'm going to pick corner rectangle. Of course, I'm going to start at my origin. I'm going to bring a box up. Just click anywhere. I'm now going to dimension that box. So go up to my dimensioning tool. And I'm going to give this very specific dimensions. I'm going to make that 2.25. And I also make the height 2.25. When I'm all done with that, I'm going to go down. There's my box. I'm going to get my green check mark. I'm going to go back in isometric view. So I'm just going to pick the little corner up here, put me back in my isometric or home view. I'm going to slide over to my extrude tool. Click extrude. I'm going to pick my surface. Now, as always, the very first extrude, we're actually going to grab our arrow and make it go backwards. And I'm going to make it go back a very specific distance. We're going to go back 0.75 today. Once I'm done, I'm going to get my green check mark, and there's my first box, my first part. Now I'm going to do a little subtractive to it. So on this front face, I'm going to right click. I'm going to go down to New Sketch. I'm going to flip this right at me so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to grab a 2-point rectangle. I'm going to make sure I grab the corner rectangle. I'm going to start the corner. I'm going to bring open a box. I'm just going to click again. Go back to my distance tool. Measure this box. I'm going to make that 1.5. I'm going to go to the height of that new box. I'm also going to make that 1.5. I'm all done with what I want to draw. I'm going to hit my green check mark. Go back to my isometric view or my home view. I'm going to go to extrude. I'm going to select the box I just drew. And now it wants to push it out. This time I'm actually going to get rid of it. I'm going to subtract it out. So I'm going to move it the other way. And then over my little box, I am going to select remove. And you will see a preview of it removing. Once I get it where I want it, select. So now I've just taken something out, and that's called the subtractive method. I'm going to add a couple parts on using the additive method. So I'm going to go back onto my front part right here. I'm going to go New Sketch. I'm going to flip the front toward me. I'm going to go to my 2-point rectangle. I'm going to start right on that corner, and I'm going to bring it right down to that corner. I'm not even going to have to measure this. I know it's going to be 0.75. It's going to be whatever the height is here and whatever the width of this piece up here is. I'm immediately going to go over to my green checkbox, check that. Let's get back into isometric view so we can see what's happening. We'll go to extrude. I'll select that little box I just made. Yep, it's going to extrude it out. I want to be very specific. We're going to call it 0.75. Hit my green check mark, and there's a piece coming out. I'm going to do that again. This time, I'm going to spin to the back. Now, remember, to spin this around, we're going to right-click and hold our mouse button down. Spin around, look at the back. I can right-click and do a new sketch on the back. I'm going to come up here to my view cube. I'm going to select the back so it flips it straight at me. I'm going to put 2 boxes in this time. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to click that corner. I'm going to come down here, just put any random box. I'm going to do the same thing on this corner and put another little random box. I'm going to go to my dimension tool. I'm going to dimension the height of this box, and we want that to be 0.75. And I want the width of this one to also be 0.75. Once I got those boxes where I want them, I'm going to hit my green check mark. I'm going to go to extrude. I'm going to select those boxes. Okay. I'm going to right click and I'm going to spin this around a little bit. And again, I want that to go 0.75. Once I get it to where I want it to go, click check mark. I'll go over to my little box. I'll click my down arrow, isometric, go to home view. And the last thing I want to do is turn off that front plane. And this time, maybe I will actually also turn off my origin. And there is my first part. I hope you like this video on additive and subtractive.